Intelligence. Most people think it's about solving problems or scoring high on tests. But Machiavelli would smirk at such a narrow view. He understood something deeper, that intelligence isn't just about knowing. It's about winning. It's about using knowledge as a blade, sharp, silent, and strategic. Modern psychology caught up centuries later. Robert Sternberg's three-factor theory of intelligence, analytical, creative, and practical, mirrors the way real power operates. It's the mind's hidden trinity. Analytical intelligence is the power of the strategist, the ability to dissect, interpret, and see the invisible structures beneath chaos. It's the logic of the chess master, the precision of a surgeon, the foresight of a general. People who wield it cut through deception with reason. They are not easily swayed by noise or emotion. But Machiavelli would remind you, logic alone does not rule men. Creative intelligence is the power of the inventor, the one who bends reality by seeing what others cannot. These are the thinkers who imagine beyond patterns, who turn limits into new possibilities. It is the realm of artists, philosophers, innovators, and schemers. Machiavelli saw creativity not as idealism, but as strategy in disguise. When he advised princes to appear merciful while remaining ruthless, that was creative intelligence, the art of manipulating perception. And then there is practical intelligence, and the rarest and most feared. It is the intelligence of action, the skill of turning thought into influence. These are the ones who move the world while others only discuss it. They understand timing, people, and leverage. They know when to act, and more importantly, when not to. Machiavelli called this virtue, a kind of mastery that bends chance, fortuna, to one's will. It's the essence of power, not just to think brilliantly, but to apply thought ruthlessly. Together, these three forces form the architecture of dominance. To live without one is to limp through life half blind. To master all three is to rule your world. In a world obsessed with intellect, remember, the intelligent man solves problems. The Machiavellian man creates systems where problems work in his favor. The tragedy of modern intelligence is not ignorance, it's fragmentation. We've raised a generation of sharp minds that can analyze endlessly but rarely act. They see everything and do nothing. Machiavelli would laugh at this paralysis. He knew the mind, when detached from power, turns into its own prison. You see, analytical intelligence without practical intelligence is sterile. It produces thinkers who understand the system, yet remain bound by it. They spend their lives dissecting the rules instead of rewriting them. And creative intelligence without discipline is chaos. It's the artist who dreams of freedom yet never builds a life. It's the revolutionary with ideas but no plan. Machiavelli saw this flaw in idealists. People who believe that truth alone will move men. It doesn't. Power does. But the most dangerous failure is when all three intelligences exist in fragments, never unified, never mastered. A man who thinks, creates, and acts, but in conflict with himself, is like a nation at civil war. His intellect becomes divided, his will scattered. Machiavelli's warning echoes here. The man who cannot command himself commands nothing. The secret of true intelligence lies not just in having the three forces, but in aligning them, making them serve a single will. Analytical intelligence becomes your compass. Creative intelligence becomes your engine. Practical intelligence becomes your executioner. When these three act in harmony, you transcend the intellectual class. You become strategic. You stop reacting to life and begin orchestrating it. That is the line between brilliance and mastery, between the philosopher and the ruler. Because in the real world, the calm strategist who understands timing, the artist who shapes perception, and the thinker who executes with precision, these are not three different people. They are one. And that person is unstoppable. To build intelligence, the Machiavellian way is not to collect facts. It's to forge clarity through struggle. You sharpen the mind by walking through conflict, not avoiding it. Machiavelli believed intelligence grows from chaos. A mind that never faces resistance never learns control. Like a sword that never meets friction, it stays dull. So how do you build each layer of intelligence with power in mind? Start with analytical intelligence. Train yourself to question everything and even your own thoughts. Ask, what is the structure behind this chaos? What is being hidden beneath the surface? Learn to break down every emotion, every word, every reaction, until you can see motives, not appearances. That's how you become immune to manipulation. Then cultivate creative intelligence. Don't just think outside the box and learn why the box exists. Expose yourself to philosophy, art, strategy, and contradiction. Learn from those who think differently, because creativity feeds on paradox. It's not about daydreaming, it's about weaponizing imagination. Finally, embody practical intelligence. This is where the game becomes real. Take calculated risks. Move ideas into the physical world. Speak less, observe more, act precisely. Because every small decision trains the will to command reality. And once all three align, you no longer think reactively. You think strategically. You see through emotion, anticipate consequences, and act with stillness. This is Machiavellian intelligence, the union of reason, imagination, and control. Most people want to be liked. The intelligent man wants to be understood. But the Machiavellian man, he wants to be obeyed. And he achieves that not through dominance, but through silent superiority, the quiet confidence of someone who sees 10 moves ahead and smiles while others play catch-up. There's a cruel irony hidden inside brilliance. The sharper the mind, the deeper it can cut itself. We celebrate intelligence, and yet few understand its curse. Because when your mind becomes too powerful, it begins to consume you. Machiavelli would call it the tyranny of reason. Jung would call it the possession by intellect. And both would agree, the unbalanced mind destroys its own kingdom. The tragedy begins quietly. The intelligent man starts seeing patterns others don't. He reads between every line, questions every motive, predicts every outcome. He becomes so aware of deception that he stops trusting sincerity. So aware of imperfection that he stops loving humanity. So aware of failure that he stops acting. This is the downfall of intelligence, an analysis without faith. The endless search for meaning that paralyzes the will to live. Machiavelli saw this among philosophers who could advise kings, but never rule. They drowned in their own minds, victims of what he'd call excessive virtue, too moral to act, too reflective to strike. And yet, the fool, the one they mocked, was often the one who seized opportunity, while they stood thinking about it. Here's the paradox. The mind that sees too much begins to doubt everything, including itself. It becomes its own shadow, brilliant but unstable. You start believing your thoughts are control, when they're actually your cage. You overthink every emotion until you can't feel. You predict every outcome until you can't choose. You know every reason until you can't believe. That's when intelligence becomes self-destruction. Jung warned of this. The danger of intellect severed from the unconscious. When thinking dominates feeling, the psyche collapses inward. You become all head, no heart. A strategist with no soul, Machiavelli understood this in a different way. He knew the world doesn't reward pure intellect. It rewards functional intelligence, the kind that acts, adapts, and commands. He wrote, "It is better to act and repent than not to act and regret." The wise man knows when to stop thinking and start moving, because intelligence without motion becomes arrogance, and arrogance without grounding becomes downfall. So what's the cure for the intelligent who think themselves into ruin? It's not to become less intelligent, and it's to become more complete. To integrate the dark and the light. To balance thinking with instinct. To blend reason with intuition. To let the conscious and the unconscious walk hand in hand. True mastery is not to conquer others with your mind. It's to stop your mind from conquering you. You must become both the thinker and the observer of your thoughts. You must know when your mind is serving you, and when it's manipulating you. Because the Machiavellian genius is not lost in the maze of his own brilliance.